So in this spot we are going to create order controller, and for that we are going to write some unit test cases. So the goal is expose a clean HTTP endpoint that accepts an order request, delegates all business work to the service layer. So we are just simply creating one controller that is accepting this parameter of values, product ID, quantity, validate the basic input, call the, or it will call the order service. And for that we need to write unit test case, order controller unit test. Mock service in controller test. So the goal is verify HTTP behavior of the controller by mocking the service without executing the any business logic. So we are just going to mock the controller by the mocking service, and we are not going to execute the actual business logic. So this is not about correctness of totals, this is about correct HTTP response. So what we are going to test here, so validate the request, so it is expected 200 result, and the invalid input should return 400 bad request, and the service called, it should call the service, it is calling the service or not. So for that we are going to use mock services. If you see here, we have created a high order service. So we have inherited the high order service here in our order service, and we have created order controller. So in this order controller we have dependency injection of high order service, create order, so it's validating the request here, create order request, it is validating the request. If it is bad request, it is returning the invalid request, product ID must be greater than 0, like that, and then it's calling the service layer. If any exception, it should return bad request. So added controller, add service to the container, and we have registered our dependency injection here, I order service, order service. We have used to add scoped, order controllers test. So we have created a file class order controller test to test our order controller. So we have write our first unit test method here. When valid request passed, it should return 200 OK. So as usual we are doing the arrange, we are mocking the high order service and we are passing that to our order controller. So when we are passing this mock order service, it won't call the actual order service, it will just get the call this mock order service, it won't connect with the database or anything. And we have arranging the values expected as expected order, so that as well we have arranged here. And we are setting that using the mock order service, we are calling the process order. And the act section and the assert section, act sections call the create order, and assert sections matching the value. Result should be type of OK object, OK object result, and OK result status code should be 200 and it should be equal. So next there is one method, when request is null returns 400 bad request. So we are passing only this null value to the controller, and we are asserting like here result should be b type of bad request, b type of used to match our request type. So bad request object result, we are checking this, and where bad request result equal result as bad request, we initiated a variable here, and bad request result status should be 400. And next method, when quantity is 0 returns 400 bad request. So we are passing the quantity here as a 0, passing the request, and we are using b type bad request same, and as usual the type status should be 400. We are matching that, checking that. And negative as well, as for the negative it should do the same thing. And when product is 0, as well as it has to return bad request, product id is 0. So similar way, when service throws argument exception, at the time as well, in case if there is any issue in service layer, at the time as well it has to return 400 bad request. So that also we have to check. For that we are mocking the order service and passing that to our controller. We are matched our value, and we are calling the order service here. So we are mocking the order service, processing the order, and we are throwing manually argument exception service error. So then we are passing the request. So whatever this request received here, we are passing that to our create order. So it also should return bad request, and it has to be 400. Let's test this application. Until now, so it's passed and failed 0. Passed, we have around 20 methods. It was passed now. So all good now. So in this part we will cover about integration test. So what is integration test? So this is the place like testing chunks of whether multiple real components work together correctly. So not the one class, not one method, the entire flow. So compare the all test types. So this is the key. Unit test like order service, mock repository, mock discount. So the test logic does not test writing and does not test HTTP, does not test DI. So controller unit test we are doing as well as mocking. So testing the HTTP behaviors, testing the HTTP code, but it does not test the real service, does not test the database. So let's come to integration test. So this is the new one. So we have HTTP request, order controller receiving the real value, and order service receiving real value, and order repository and database in memory as of now. So the real database injection, so dependency injection, and real routing, real serialization, and database. So why this integration test exists? So we already proved service logic works, controller logic works, but what if dependency wiring is wrong service registered, wrong database configured? So JSON mapping maybe breaks. So unit test won't catch those things, but integration test will do that. So let's see what implemented in our project. So if you see here, I have created order integration test. So that is under order test. I have created a folder order integration test. So I just created a empty file now as of now. And quick recap. So integration test purpose to test a different unit test in that they like testing multiple components working together using the real implementations, not mocks where appropriate. So verifying the complete workflow, test against the real database, APIs or external services if applicable. Here I created a .NET test. So the all test was passed here, passed 26 test. So what we tested regarding this integration test. So if you see here the full flow, first we have one method create order end to end returns 200. So this one verifies the controller HTTP request correctly, like so we are acting the API call, making the API call, and we are doing the asset verifying the API response. Result should be type of OK object result. OK result status code should be 200. Verifies the controller receives the request and verifies it's 200 OK for valid request. Verifies the response type is correct. And data saved. Test verifies the data is persistent to database. Like create order end-to-end data saved to database. So for that we have created all in-memory database, and we are not using any mock thing. We are not using any mock service or mock dependency injection, everything original, but only the in-memory database we have updated. And then we are doing the save order, and as well as we are verifying the all given data was available and the response correct. We are testing the verifying the API response contains the correct data. So this is the full flow. We are doing API call and the service layer, we are using repository layer and the database layer in memory, and the response we have tested. So everything was passed and it is success. So like as mentioned, what makes this integration test? So real dependencies, no mocks, real database, in-memory database, full stack means we are testing the every layers like controller, service, repository, database. So verifies completes the workflow. So test integration between the components. This is a small test breakdown. So result 200 OK API call, what it test, HTTP status code and the response type, and the data saved, response contains correct data, discount, multiple orders saving into the database, invalid product ID returns 400. So everything we have tested using this integration test.